Hi, everyone. Gary Walton's book, History of the American Economy, described the postbellum period in America as a rapidly growing economy with growth not just to the supply of labor, but also to the progress of labor conditions, rights, pay, all of it. Additionally, Walton details this period as one of technological changes and innovation. He states technological changes can be thought of as advances in knowledge that raises output or lowers costs. The innovator or the inventor or company pursuing research bear a substantial risk and cost, including the possibility of failure and no commercial gain at all. Though with great risk comes with great reward. Furthermore, as seen in the article we read this week, Railroad Revelation, the northeastern states especially witnessed massive growth in the railroad networks thanks to the Civil War victory of the North. This enhancement of the transportation network fostered economic growth, throughout the nation. This is reflected in Chapter 5 of Richard Binsel's book, The Political Economy of American Industrialization. Binsel argues that railroad growth was instrumental in moving freight and passenger traffic to far-flung regions, which ultimately increased the value of a new national commodity, that being time. So there are many entrepreneurs who epitomize these innovative spirits that levy the developments that further their own economic growth that I can go ahead and choose from to talk about this week. But one such entrepreneur during this postbellum period who adapted other innovations for his own circumstances, as well as utilized the growing infrastructure in the Northeast, was none other than Eli Whitney Jr., not Eli Whitney Sr. There he is. This Eli Whitney is not to be confused with the legendary Eli Whitney Sr., who was the inventor of the cotton gin, the proprietor of interchangeable parts, and who helped give rise to the modern industrial movement in America. The Eli Whitney that I refer to is one of less humble origins, as he is in fact the son of this legendary Eli Whitney Sr., and thus was offered a much more advantageous economic startup. Nevertheless, an analysis of his personal experiences during the period after the American Civil War represents a miniature vignette of innovative growth during the postbellum period. In 1798, Eli Whitney Sr. still took a government contract to produce 10,000 muskets for the military. In doing so, we gave rise to what is known as Whitney Armory. It was born, and with the interchangeable parts system pioneered by Whitney, it ensured finely tuned firearms ready for delivery. The Armory was set up on the opposing banks of what was known as the Mill River in New Haven, Connecticut. And Mill River was necessary to power the water frames that was needed in the manufacturing process to actually run, the armory. While Whitney Sr.'s achievements are synonymous with this early developments in American Industrial Revolution, it is his son Eli Whitney Jr. who extended this family legacy through that postbellum period. After attending both Yale and Princeton, again, he didn't have a humble origin, Whitney Jr. took over the armory in 1842, and he quickly began working on new firearm contracts with the government. No stranger to innovation, Whitney set about making what becomes known as the Model 1841. It was a percussion rifle rather than the antiquated flintlocks of his father's era. Through the Civil War era and then thereafter, the armory grew under Whitney Jr.'s leadership. Originally under the senior's leadership, there was about 40 to 60 laborers, and it grew under Jr.'s leadership to about over 200 workers. Furthermore, by the time of his retirement in 1888, Whitney Jr. replaced the water frames that were installed by his father in the factories, and he replaced them with different steam engines that became so prevalent in factories of the time. Whitney even built dams on the Mill River After an in-depth analysis that he took, of the different rainfall and the water requirements in the area, and then he created what was known as Whitney Lake in the region. And true to his entrepreneurial spirit, he sold those water rights from that lake to the town of New Haven. Was actually going to use some of that water for quite some time thereafter. Not one to turn a blind eye to profit, each time Eli Whitney Jr. updated his armory, he sold off the outdated equipment to other startup entrepreneurs. Moreover, Whitney too marketed not just this equipment and the water rights from Whitney Lake, nor did he only rely on government contracts. He used his state-of-the-art armory that helped create an ability to break into the private firearm industry as well. He wanted to create private firearm sales, truly capitalizing on the boom of not just marketing and manufacturing, but those sales as well. So what we have here are some of the advertisements that we see from Eli Whitney Jr. that was placed in newspapers from around the time. Throughout numerous newspapers from the time, advertisements from Whitney Armory are frequently found appealing to the newly growing middle class who are eagerly looking for sport and recreation and their growing time off during that postbellum period. They also appealed to the frontiersmen as more and more people headed west to make their own destiny. Which was also characteristic of the postbellum period. The ads target the consumer's need for fine craftsmanship, coupled with a desire for an attractive price. It is Whitney's use of the state-of-the-art armory, as well as his expansion on his father's interchangeable part system, that make this quality product offered at prices considerably lower than what could be made by skilled artisans, or in this case, by skilled gunsmiths. We also see other advertisements, other articles here, primary sources. By 1888, Whitney Jr. made his fortune and furthered his family's legacy. He progressed into his retirement age by selling off the Whitney Armory to the Winchester Repeating Arms Company, who took over day-to-day operations. He did maintain control of the water company, though, that he created when he created Whitney Lake. And by the turn of the century, Whitney was entering the realm of local politics, serving on the city council in New Haven, finishing up his retirement years in some sort of politics in the region. Eli Whitney Jr., not senior, Eli Whitney Jr. was a man of innovation who knew how to use new postbellum technology to improve his capital and production methods. The armory that he built provides a detailed vignette of an entrepreneurial success during the postbellum period, as well as what he did with Whitney Lake, as well as what he does with selling off a lot of the different assets that he creates, which is where I finished this video post this week. I hope you guys all enjoyed it. All right. I will look forward to your comments soon. All right, guys, have a lovely day. Bye.